Happy Thursday. It is Thursday. It's Therapy Thursday. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I am so excited tonight. We got us a bum therapy session tonight. In case you don't know, I am Dr. Triffy. I'm a licensed psychologist in Atlanta, Georgia. I'm also an advanced clinical hypnotherapist, and I've been doing therapy from 1999. It feels like forever, but my daughter is just 21, and that's when I started learning hypnotherapy. So I want to do this program tonight, and I want to introduce you to a fabulous woman. Her name is Judy Lawrence-Larocque. She is from the most beautiful island on the planet. Yes, I'm talking about Dominica. And no, I do not mean Dominican Republic. I mean Dominica, nature island of the Caribbean. Okay? We are further south there. So welcome with me tonight. Welcome.
Hi, welcome to everybody. I'm happy to be here. Looking forward to this evening with Dr. Tree.
Yes, yes. So I thought we would have a conversation about therapy. And before I do that, I kind of want to share a little story. It was, I want to say 1999. I'm pregnant and expecting that same daughter I'm talking about. That would have been about 21 years ago. At I was sitting, I can see myself now. I was sitting at my desk at the University of Mississippi. At the time, I was working as what's called a bill services specialist. So that meant what I did was review students' documentation to see if they met criteria for accommodations, like if they needed somebody to help them write their notes, or if they needed, if they were hearing or speech impaired, set them up with services. It was an afternoon, and I got a call, and the call was to tell me that one of my oldest sisters had gotten into an accident, terrible accident, and in that accident, like it was terrible. One of my very close friends actually died after that accident. Um, if those of you who know my sister Martha, if you're accident into the Mukase area in Dominica, you all know. But I don't want to talk too much about that. I want to share that after that accident, she was in pain. She was suffering with a lot of pain, and she couldn't necessarily put her finger on it. So she went to my village. My little village in Dominica is called Cottage, and we grew up in Cottage with my mom's best friend. Her name was Ma. We called her Ma Beltel. Her name really is Bethel. So people in the village, and actually people all over Dominica, and sometimes people from the village who had migrated and coming back, they would come to Ma Bethel to have her rub them if they were in pain, if there was a strain, if they were hurt. And so my sister went to Ma Bethel to have her, put her hands on her, okay? To have her put her hands on her to see if she could stop the pain. And when she went to my Bethel said, I'm sorry, I cannot do it for you because if I do it, you will be in more trouble. It'll be worse for you. And so my sister was a little bit surprised because, my Bethel can't heal anything with her hands, essentially. Fast forward, my sister goes to the doctor and gets to have x-rays done. And the doctor says, if you had done it, it would have been worse for you. How does woman grew up in a little village, who didn't go to anybody's medical school, how did she know? How did she know? How did she know? I talk about this because this is the kind of power that healing modalities have. Many of these healing modalities are not in the normal. I went to science, I went to study biology, I went to study chemistry, and no, I'm a medical doctor, or I'm a radiologist, or I'm a this, or I'm a that. Hypnotherapy reminds me of this because of its history. I think many people are confused about hypnotherapy, and I wanted to really bring you on so you can share with the people your experience learning hypnotherapy last weekend with me. Because we had an amazing, amazing, amazing group of 8 of you who came to the training. And so, Judy, I want you to tell us a little bit more about you individually, and then tell me your hypnotherapy story. Like, how did you even become interested?
Hi, good evening to all. I'm happy to be here. Thank you for having me, Dr. Tree.
Hmm.
My name is Judy Lawrence-Larocque. I'm from the beautiful island of Dominica. I reside in Portsmouth. That's the second town. That's where Dr. Rifi is from, and it's a wonderful town. It
Yes.
is. You have a lot of places that you can go and relax and feel out of this world. You know, you have the beaches, the cabarets. You have, going up the Indian River. There's a lot of wonderful places in the north of the island that one can visit and feel rather relaxed and rejuvenated. Even taking those long walks, in the evenings or the very early morning,
Mm.
it's a wonderful place to be. So I am Judy. I'm married. I have 3 kids, and I live in that part of the island, Portsmouth, and in the T-Bay area, to be, specific. And I have been living in Portsmouth for the last 15 years. I actually grew up further north, that is in the town, the country area of Tibo. It's a little country area, before you get to Portsmouth. I went to preschool there, and then I moved up to the main town with my parents, Roseau. So I have gone through the Tibos, the Roseau, and I'm back in Portsmouth, and I'm living there. So this is me. I have been more of a business person per se, but being a business person, I also always had this internal passion and wanting to help persons, no matter who they were, who they are, where they came from. I believe in giving second chances, to persons, and even in the in the business world. I did that as well. I always ensured that persons around me, were always happy, relaxed. To be able to function properly, your mind must be, at ease, in relaxation mode. So I've always been a business-minded person, but within down deep down, I always love people and always I was always interested in helping people take care of themselves. Although at times I leave myself back, but
Mm.
that's how it is sometimes. But I'm learning now that for me to help and to help heal, I am also having to heal myself, you know. And like everybody else, and especially during this COVID season, everybody, we're going through some sort of hurt, some sort of challenge, something that just is there on our mind, on our hearts. And at times we don't know what to do, who to speak to, and where to turn to or what to turn to. And we
Mhm.
keep all of this in there, and so that's the kind of person that I am. I listen to a lot of people. I listen, and I really don't give advice, but I suggest, what persons can do to help their mind and help them relax. So
Yeah.
that's Judy altogether.
Very nice. Very nice. So I know that it is your strong intention to be a mindset coach, mental health coach. Now, for me, that is so awesome because, growing up on a small island, there are really not many resources mental health wise. I grew up, and I share this with people often. I grew up at a time when I didn't really understand the word depression. I didn't know what it meant to be depressed. And it took me years. Actually, I was in my master's counseling program before I understood what it meant to be really stressed, to be anxious to the point of feeling stressed. I didn't know what that was. And so I do believe that on the island are there are increasing numbers of mental health professionals, but we need more. We need more. What are your thoughts on that?
Dr. Triffy, we do need more. And yes, there are mental health professionals, and I respect them. And this is something that I always advocate for, especially on social media, where that's where you find most of the people, and they are there. And the things that sometimes you see they post or they say, while you don't have to take social media so seriously, sometimes there might be some underlying issue and they're trying to reach out to somebody, and we take it sometimes for a joke. I have this friend, her name is if I should say Baba. We have had conversations like this already. I know she's on all now, and we spoke about people taking mental health seriously. I know our authorities here in Dominica, they are doing their best. But like you say, we have mental health persons to help, but there is a need for more. Now, there's a need for more on a community level, I think, on a community level. Um, because right now, especially as COVID is rampant, and a lot of persons are going through a lot. They have some people have lost their jobs, some people probably on the brink of losing their homes, some people their marriages and problems, their children, they're going through a lot, lost their businesses. I'm one of the persons that lost my business due to the challenges. But I know what it is to lose and to experience loss, and to be able to have somebody who you can actually talk to, go to, and express how you feel with no fear of being victimized or with no fear of being judged, you know? And there are those of us who are fortunate enough to have somebody that we can speak to, and we can actually get to listen and to help us to go through what we are going through. So, on a community level, I think that it is needed. And I am here now, and I am willing to assist persons because I have been doing it on a private level. There are a few people that will call me, speak to me. I make the time to listen to them and help them in whatever way I can, if suggestions that are, reasonable.
Yeah, that's wonderful. So, where we met, you were one of eight uh, trainees over the weekend. Many of them in the group were licensed professionals who are actually receiving CEU credits, for their licensures as licensed professional counselors. There is a difference between clinical hypnotherapy and standard mental health therapy, like cognitive behavioral therapy, where you're using words essentially to recalibrate the brain. You're teaching people how to change their thought patterns, their negative schemas, so that the emotional response changes and so their actions change. Now, for many years, and I think even now, in communities, I would say of color, there's been a little bit of kind of like, I don't know about hypnotherapy. Recently, the movie came out, and even now, sometimes, I have fellow hypnotherapists who will say, that's the first question people ask. Oh my God, Are they going to take me into the sunken place? Will I remember? Will I remember what is happening? So I'm going to give a little bit of a definition of the hypnotherapy experience so people understand, that it's not that nobody's going to have you clucking like a chicken or dancing like Elvis or
No.
singing, at the top of your lungs, embarrassing yourself. Hypnotherapy is a process. It's also a tool, one of the most powerful tools I've used as a psychologist. And I've been doing mental health work for over 26 years. If I had to take any tool in my toolkit as a professional, it would be hypnotherapy. If I could only take one, because what hypnotherapy does is it really allows you to bypass the conscious mind. The conscious mind is a part of the mind that is always going. It's the part of the mind that helps us stay safe. I know what's going on, I'm on track, I'm aware, but it's so very present. It's just so very here. Now imagine that over 50 years, 20 years, you accumulate so many memories and experiences. Your mind, your brain doesn't need all of that information. Imagine. It only keeps what it needs in like working memory and really what's easily accessible. The rest kind of goes to a subconscious level. But what you realize when you pay attention to that is very often that subconscious mind has created little patterns.
Yes.
It's got little sets of ways of thinking based on childhood experiences, very painful experiences often, or things that have been sort of inculcated in us, like um, beat into you verbally or whatever, right? So
Yes.
that's the little engine that's below the surface. And very often we want to do things, we want to make changes.
Yes.
And we think if we just tell ourselves, okay, I'm going to stop smoking now. Okay, I just need to just be brave and stop feeling so nervous when I speak in front of a crowd without realizing that even sometimes when we make the attempt, one step forward, we go
Mhm.
10 steps
One step
backward
back. Yes.
because that subconscious programming is really
Yes.
what's driving your car. It's what's driving and steering you through life. And so to make the change, to get the results you're looking for, to change that behavior that's getting in your way, you've got to go a little deeper.
Deeper.
And that's what the hypnotherapy process does. So
Yes.
what I want to know from you is, what was your biggest surprise during the hypnotherapy training? What was your biggest surprise?
Okay. My biggest surprise was the fact that the notion out there about hypnotherapy was not really what actually takes place. Because we did it together as a team and also one on one, and the whole notion out there, that's not what it is. And I just want to let persons know the surprise that I found was that it was more of a healing tool than actually feeling that somebody's gonna tap into my brain and probably I'm gonna say all sorts of things that probably I don't want somebody to know about. Nah. What I'm happy about, and when I found out what it is to be a hypnotherapist or to be a trainee, is that first of all, you have to seek the client's permission. It will not be done, the process will not happen or will not be done unless a client agrees. And that's the first part. And it's actually trust is important. So as a client, and a therapist, you have to have that level of trust and confidence. And you have to get permission as a therapist from the client before you start that process. And the process
What
is
you're
not
talking
as
about,
yes. it's a real connection that you need to create between you and that client to start off that process for it to actually work and for it to make sense and for you to actually see the fruits of what you really want to accomplish. So when we ask for the permission of the client, once the therapist receives that permission from the client, all we do, we put you in a state of relaxation. A state of relaxation, it's your own doing. It's using your own mind and getting yourself in that favorite place that you probably always wanted to be or where you love to be. You just go into that zone, that mode, of I love the beach. So, my state of relaxation gonna take me to the beach. And you just get relaxed. So if you come to me for some sort of because you have a sleeping disorder, for example, and you're finding that you cannot sleep properly, once you give me permission, I'm going to work with you. So once I get that permission, put you to relax, and I give you some positive suggestions, some positive suggestions that can make you, make some firm and positive decisions and affirmations. And all I'm going to do is to help you mentally program for new behaviors. So I'm
Simple,
not going to
simple.
I'm not going to go in there and go back to your 10, 20 years ago what happened. If you come to me as a therapist requesting that I heal you for something that happened years ago, then we'll have a different discussion. But right now, as it is, there are different reasons you go to a therapist. You want to just be able to sleep properly in the evenings. You want to relax more because you have been having some rough times. So, for example, the people working at the COVID center, they need a break. They need some breather. They need to relax from all this because they feel all burnt out and tired. I can help you to relax. It doesn't take much. Once you agree to it, and I'm not going to ask you 101 questions. Don't be afraid. It's a lovely process. It's a healing process that I tell you that I did with Dr. Triffy, and I felt better. And there are a few close friends of mine who are going through some rough time, and I have some personal appointments that we made that I'm gonna practice with them and help them to grow and help them to get that, you know, new decisions in their mind. And mark you, just one session may not actually help. We may have to do more than one. But once we build that trust and you agree that you want to change and you want the help, it can happen. It's just a small percentage of persons who believe that, I don't like going in people's brain. A friend of mine, when I told her, I mentioned to her what I was doing, she said to me, it's a good tool, but I just don't like the idea that you have to tap into people's brains. It's like a violation. I said to them, it will be a violation if you don't get permission, one, and if you are going in there for the wrong reasons. So the client has to actually know what they want, what they need to get out of that therapy session. So there was a surprise in terms of the notion out there and actually being at the training and being hypnotized and feeling better after.
You mentioned so many important factors in what you just said. The first thing I heard that I really want to stress is the importance of an ethical hypnotherapist gaining informed consent, gaining permission. Permission. None of us wants our will taken away from us. We are
Right,
autonomous creatures and we have a right. We have a right to our thoughts and our feelings and our experiences. So I am not of the school of thought of, well, let me learn this so I can see whose mind I can play in or who I
right,
can get to do what I want to do. No,
right.
because as you observed in some of the training sessions, which were actually sessions,
Yes,
when you all were switching roles between therapist and client, sometimes the person in the role of the client would say, I am not ready to talk about this yet.
yes,
I'm not
yes,
ready to go there yet. And if they decide during the process they had changed their minds, they would come back to it. They would come back
Yeah.
to it. Another powerful thing about hypnotherapy is that because of the state of relaxation you get to, you want to get, most people get, you want to get at least to the theta state of mind. In that state of mind, we are so much more able to hold decisions we make. Usually we make it up here in the conscious
Yeah.
mind.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it doesn't stick.
No.
We tell ourselves the rest, forever and ever and ever and ever. I want to lose this last 5 pounds, this last 10 pounds.
Yes.
When you slow down, go beneath, go subconscious level, in that state of mind, you become more receptive, more able to hold those post hypnotic suggestions that your therapist is actually guiding you through. So the therapist, again, talking about ethical hypnotherapy, the therapist is not telling you
Nope.
or directing you
Nope.
somewhere where you don't want to go.
Exactly.
It's a communication, it's a rapport, it's a trust factor. So as a hypnotherapist, your biggest thing then, your biggest responsibility, in my view, is to respect your client,
Respect.
respect your client.
Very
Yeah.
true. And that's the part I love more about it. If the client doesn't want to continue the process, we stop. There's no
Mm-hmm.
forcing you to do what you don't want to do.
Mm-hmm.
It's all up to you. If you really want that healing, you
Yeah.
will get it.
Yes. Oh, I'm happy to hear you verbalize and process thoughts about this like so clearly. I'm hoping that the people listening, especially again, like I say, many people have had really painful experiences with therapists who sometimes have not held their confidentiality, who sometimes said things to them that felt like, why would you say that to me? And it's this sacred because in my mind, in a way, the healer, the hypnotherapist, is a bridge between the client's healing, whatever the highest healing forces are in the universe. You're that intermediary, you're the gate, like the bridge. And so can you imagine if you were out of order as the bridge?
Yes.
And so that
Yes.
is important. Yeah. What are your thoughts on that?
If you, as the healer, go out of order, one of the first things that you do, you actually break that client healer ethics confidentiality, and you just break the whole process altogether. Now, when you mess up this process, that's when you have the notion out there that this process is just not healthy or not the right way to go. When you need healing, but I really believe that it is a process that can work because I have done it for myself. I have also done it for my husband, and it works. And I just want to encourage persons out there to put away that notion that we're gonna play in your mind and trick you to doing what you don't want to do. It works. You just need to relax. Once you want it to happen for you, it will happen for you. That's what we're
Absolutely.
being
So
trained. That's what we're being trained to do.
that's how we're being trained. So this is how I was trained, and this is how I train. So one of the things I have learned also to trust is the individual person's subconscious mind. So your subconscious mind takes you where you need to go. An ethical, a professional therapist follows, follows,
Yes,
follows client. Yeah,
right.
follows client.
Now,
So
one thing I
somebody,
just want
go ahead.
One thing I
Go
want to
ahead.
mention is that during the training, we learned that if we're with a client and you came for one type of healing or treatment, and we realize that your treatment needs to be it's above what we do, we will actually refer you to the right authorities. So if it's, for example, if it's suicidal, if it is abuse of any sort, we're actually not doctors. We don't prescribe medication to persons. We actually target your mind and your heart to help you heal naturally. But if there's anything that is way above what we have been taught and what our practice allows and the ethics, we will have to refer it to the relevant authorities. So I wanted to put that in there. So in case somebody, is actually thinking, if I've been abused and if I come to the hypnotherapist, I have to tell her who abused me, what happened, and what happens after that. We cannot actually do so much. We have to leave it to the persons who have been trained in that area, and we have to refer it. But before you come and we start, we explain all this to you. There are areas we don't tread, and there are areas that are within our boundaries that we deal with.
So you look, you're an awesome student. She's an awesome student. So you're talking about more of the ethics of healing, the ethics one of my issues with countries that start wars, some of them, names will be mentioned, is we might say something like, oh, well, the premise we use is that we wanted to bring them freedom. How can I want to bring you freedom by killing 100,000 of you to bring you freedom? This doesn't line up. It doesn't line up. So we cannot, you do not, as a healer, as a hypnotherapist, work outside the scope of your competence.
Exactly.
If it's bigger than you, if you're not trained yet in a certain skill or modality, just you just let your client know, you let the person know, I understand that this is what you've come to me with, but this is outside of my area of competence, and I know just who to refer you to. There are also certain situations people come to present with where you cannot hold their confidentiality. So if they come and they report abuse of a minor, abuse of an elderly person or vulnerable person, that you're a mandated reporter now. Ethically, you've got to let someone know. Okay?
Yes.
If they say I am suicidal or I'm homicidal, this must leave, it might have to go beyond the realm, because this person, depending on the level of their suicidality, how much of a plan they have, are they really serious about themselves? If they cannot make a commitment to not, you have a responsibility outside of your, oh, well, they came to me for an hour and a half.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
I totally agree with that. And that is the most important part of it for me, that we separate what we're not trained to do. And once we stick to that and we just focus on the healing of the mind and the body and the soul, then we shouldn't have this
Yes.
misconception out there too much, thinking what hypnotherapy in a bad light.
Exactly.
It's
You're
actually
talking
very
about,
good. People, it's good.
absolutely. You're talking about here, like the Hippocratic Oath, like the idea that we're not here to do harm. In fact, we should only be here to do good. So it must be
Good.
positive. Yes, only
Yes.
positive. One thing you
Yes.
alluded to
Totally agree.
earlier was the power of the connection between the therapist and the client. So the research is showing that yes, skills are great. It's great that you know a ton of skills as a healer, as a therapist, but that relationship between
Yes.
you and the other person, that heart connection, is such
Yes.
a powerful part of the healing process. And
Very much.
if you disrupt it, or if you don't honor it, if you break it, it is Like it's a sin in my view. It's really disgusting, you know? It's
It's
really disgusting.
in our Dominica terms would say it's like it will feel like a go well.
Exactly, like really. And so you have people who are coming to you for helping them to resolve trauma, but here you
Yes,
cause a broken heart. You cause a
yes,
broken heart. Yeah,
yes.
potentially. And so, delete, 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 delete. We are only here to heal. So
So here,
Joy said, it is good to have people like you, Judy, who are willing to talk to others, to encourage them, and to listen whenever they need to. And she's happy to know you.
thank you, Joy. Thank you very much.
Oh, another Facebook user says it's one of the greatest tools added to their counseling tool chest.
Yes,
I agree. I agree. Here's the other thing about hypnotherapy. It is so fast compared to, say, talk therapy, even like compared to like psychodynamic therapy. So compared to many other evidence-based modalities, hypnotherapy goes. I have seen young men who I've been working with, just using cognitive behavior therapy, just talking and thinking through things. When we did hypnotherapy session, go straight to the emotion, straight to the
yes,
source event, to be able to root it out and recalibrate the negative decisions they had created and were perhaps living by.
yes.
So, yes, yes, it is a powerful, powerful tool. Good night, Lenore. And Elena, my niece, says, seems like a great tool for people who are still processing raw trauma. Hypnotherapy is a fabulous tool for processing trauma. Fabulous tool for processing trauma. Um, I will respect the privacy of one of the trainees over the weekend, but it's really powerful to watch him go through his process. You cover one thing. Again, you might come in to a hypnotherapist and say, I just cannot sleep. I don't know why I cannot sleep. And what ends up happening is your subconscious mind, when you become that relaxed, takes you to an event that you had completely put aside, or you
Yes.
thought you resolved it already. And then now at that deeper level, you can go in and really reset it, reset it.
Yes,
It's powerful.
I totally
Yeah.
agree.
Joyce says she's seeing my pride and satisfaction in my big smile. I really am proud of the work you did over the weekend. I really am proud of the work all of the trainees did over the weekend. I think many people again came in with all of our preconceptions about hypnotherapy and really all the myths about hypnotherapy, like, oh, they take over your mind and, oh,
Yes,
weird things will come into your brain and stuff like that. And to see it is completely not
it's
what a
not
lot of the
that.
movies make it out to. Yeah. Yeah. And
Yes,
in addition, you're not doing stage hypnotism. You're not doing, that's a different process than clinical hypnotherapy, which is meant for healing, and now has so much evidence, so much research to show how powerful it is for things like phobias, resolving phobias, bedwetting, nail biting, depression, weight management, stopping smoking, resolving trauma, healing relationships. I mean, the possibilities are endless with that tool.
endless.
Again, because it's your mind taking you where you need to go.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we have
Go ahead.
always been hearing that the mind is a powerful thing, and a lot of times we just say that the mind is a powerful thing, but do we really sit and actually think about the mind and how it works and what we put in
Yeah,
and what we leave there and what we should take out or what we don't need?
that's
I,
right.
I have encountered persons who they they're overloaded, in their mind. It's they say they're overwhelmed, they're overloaded, and you wonder what is it that they're keeping in there that they should be let out, that is not necessary. Free your mind, according to what Bob Marley or whoever. Free your mind from what you cannot control. But for you to free your mind, it's easier said than done, though, Doc. Because when I went through, and when I went through my little dark times and my trauma, persons would say, cheer up, free your mind, you'll feel better soon. It's easier said than actually done. And then, people tell you, just have positive mindset. You need a positive mindset. And that is good. That is what we need, a positive mindset. But there must be a process to help those who cannot do it on their own. Because it's one thing to say you need a positive mindset or you need to think good thoughts, but you need the support. You need somebody who can actually help you reprogram, reset that mind of yours so you can move forward with fresh, new, positive thoughts. And you just have to get rid of what you don't need in there. Get rid of it. When you start getting rid of it, you have more space to think and to grow and to do more as an individual. And you breathe and you breathe out. And then you feel that, a weight has been lifted off of you, and you continue. And the more positive things you pour in there, when you've cleared it from the clutter, that's when you start feeling your whole body, your soul, your mind changing.
Yes,
It's a process.
yes, yes. It's a process, and there are
Yes.
tools. I think many people give up because they've tried so many things, but sometimes we don't know what we don't know. So many people are tonight, today, perhaps this is the first they're hearing about hypnotherapy in this way, but one of the reasons I am completely clear that I must continue training is because I want this modality to reach communities where this has historically been not available for whatever reason. For whatever reason, because I've seen the power of this tool.
Doc, when you say it's not available in certain communities, I think if I can speak for my homeland, it is available, Doc. But what is it that will, we have this misconception that once you go to a therapist, you're crazy or
Mm,
you have some mental disorder. Sometimes you just need to let out what is on there, out of there, let it out, because you're not crazy and there are therapists available. But if you don't probably let people know in the most basic ways, reach out to those who they're hiding at their homes. They're afraid to go out. They're afraid to talk to anybody, but they will talk to the common normal person. But for them to actually go to a therapist in an office setting, you feel like you're going because you're crazy. And I want them
mm.
to know that it's not a bad thing to be cluttered and overwhelmed. There are ways and there are processes that can help you to declutter and to clear your mind once you want it. Once you want it. So we just have to work through that process, and it can happen.
You're
So
talking.
our therapists, it's just persons with the will and the mind power if they really want to make that happen for them. Because in our society, some persons they thrive on pity. You know, they prefer stay in that zone of feel sorry for themselves and try not to get out of it. I mean, you have these types of people there, and when they decide to stay in it, they have reasons for staying in that self pity. but I am here and I am a coach therapy in training. I am being trained by one of the best and, Dominican born. And I know the process works.
You've seen it, you've watched.
Yes.
Yes, 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 yes. What you're talking about is the stigma that continues, but that I feel is releasing itself. It's being shaken off. Perhaps because in a way you can only avoid a thing for so long.
Yes.
The pain that we've been experiencing collectively, like globally, has been so intense. I feel
Very much.
many people have reached out for mental health support services than they have in the past. We don't have as many opportunities to what you call it, like sort of drink away or escape from our
No,
pain, emotional
no.
pain. And so more people are reaching out. More people are reaching out. That's actually part of the reason I decided to start training therapists to do hypnotherapy. So when COVID came, it was just I felt overwhelmed. I felt
Yes, me too.
overwhelmed.
Me too.
Yes, the burden as an individual, and
Yes,
then to have to go work and hold other people's pain was really it felt to me very overwhelming. And so I
yes,
had to start looking at how am I going to be working? How do I want to work? How do I feel like my best self, like I'm really in my flow state
in your
versus
element. Yes,
exactly I'm just walking and doing. And I don't want to work for other people. I really want to work for myself in the sense that what I'm doing must bring me joy. What I'm
exactly.
doing must bring me joy so that I can avoid that pity you talk about, where some of us work and we're like, oh, I just have to go to work. Well, not really. Perhaps you need to change the programming you've picked
Yes,
up along the way that says, I just must do it in this way. No, you don't have to do it in this way. You can completely reset it.
yes.
Completely.
Totally agree,
Sometimes all it
Doc.
takes is an hour, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes.
Yes, to declutter. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, um, Facebook user says we have to remove negative connotations of therapy and embrace living authentically. You know, powerful. Thank you, Facebook user, for this. What is my purpose on the planet? Why am I here? Why am I here? I think for me, this has become one of the most efficient questions I ask
Yes,
myself because I
yes,
really believe not examining my life is a waste of time because I run the risk of yes walking through life but then looking back and saying what did I do with my time.
yes. Totally agree.
So I really want to invite those of you who are listening to take some time and investigate where do I need to show up more authentically? Like, who is the real me and what's in my way? And now you know that there are ways to remove blocks, to remove those things in your way. We are mind, we're body, we're spirit. Yeah, physical, emotional, spiritual. Look, uh, sometimes when one of these parts of ourselves is out of whack, out of alignment, really the whole feels it. The whole is out of whack.
Yes,
There's a little, I can't remember where I read this, but if you imagine that your little toe is hurt, the tiniest toe, the little one, the little pinky toe is hurt, your whole body is out of whack. You're just your mind because it hurts to put it in the shoe. You just think
yes.
about the pain, right? So you're out of sorts over a little toe that's hurt.
So,
You see, so we must pay attention. Where in my life am I hurting? Where do I feel uncomfortable? Where do I feel uncomfortable? I think pain is one of the biggest gifts because for me, It's a signal like ding, 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 ding. Pay attention over
Yes,
here. Pay attention over here.
yes.
Yes.
I can say the same, Doc. I'm sitting here this evening speaking to having a conversation with you and those who are listening. And I want to say that most time healers are people who have gone through trauma. We have all gone through the trauma, and we were like you out there trying to figure out, how do we get out of this? How? We read books, we listen to persons, people tell us what they think we should do, we go to church, we go down on our knees and we talk to our creator, you know, and we do all this, and you still feel that something is missing, but it's all in the mind. So I went through my trauma as well, so I want people out there to know that I'm not saying that I have been fixed, but I'm beginning to know what it is to go through trauma and the healing process. Now, while I am healing, there are persons who are also hurting out there, and they're seeking some sort and some form of healing. So my hurts, my pain that I'm healing from, I know I can help, because what I have been doing to help myself heal through this process, it's working for me. Now, I'm not saying it will work for you automatically, but if you're willing and you're open and you want it to really happen for you, it can happen. It's all about the mind. It's all about deleting what you don't need here. If it doesn't bring you joy, if it doesn't bring you peace, if it doesn't bring you love, if it doesn't bring you closer to your creator, delete it. You don't need it there. And keep just what is necessary. So yes, I have gone through mine. I am still going through a little bit of it, but I am healing. And it is, I think I'm happy to say and to let the viewers know that I'm healing. I'm not perfect, and I can sympathize and empathize with some persons out there who don't know who to turn to, like I said. But there's help. You just have to tap into the right process.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Look, I like to say if you live long enough, you're going to accumulate so much pain because that's part of the human experience. You're not in pain because you're a terrible person. Bad things happen to you not because you were a bad person, but because you're alive. And these things happen. However, there are processes, there are tools that are so powerful, to help you and help you to heal. And know you know, now you know. Maya Angelou says, when you know better, you got to do better. When you know
Agree.
better, you've got to do better. So,
Agree.
if for all of your life you've been struggling with the idea of considering going in to talk to someone, to have that person guide you through a process, to get to the other side where there's authenticity and light and healing, the way you were describing it, Judy, was like really raising your vibration, like
Yes.
bringing yourself back up, bringing that energy, cleansing that stuff and bringing it back up so that you can access your highest, your best, your wisest self. You can access your pure, clean, fabulous creativity as a human being. There are processes. And so now that you know,
Yes.
do better.
Do better.
Those of you in Dominica, I see Maudlin. Maudlin, Judy, Judy Maudlin says she's got a son who she would love for you to talk with. Okay? So I
Okay,
want you to connect.
Madeline.
Yeah, I want you to connect
Okay.
with Maudlin. All right? Look, we are each other's keepers. We might not like it, but the thing is, when we're down, we like people to help us up,
Yes.
you know? And we, uh, when you take the position, I don't know if it's a position, you really take. For healers, I think it's a calling, it's a
Yes.
vocation. It,
Yes.
often it finds you. Yeah. Often the work to become a healer finds you. And it's a sacred work. It's a sacred work because you're dealing with people's deepest and their most vulnerable, and their highest intentions for themselves. And I know that I respect it. Like, I respect the process. We were talking in the training about the law of vibration, and always, always, always trying to go higher, go
Yes.
higher to our highest and best.
And I just want to mention as well, Doc, that I want persons to know that they need to also tap into their spiritual life. It is very important. While the process works, our spiritual life is very important because whoever is our creator, whoever we call our great one, because different religions, different places, people worship, what they want. So we respect that as well. As a healer, we respect who your creator is. But as a healer, I know who my creator is, and we must tap into our spiritual side. And I had to go deep into my spiritual life as well. And I had to spend time fasting as well, praying and listening to what the Lord was saying to me and the direction He wanted me to take. Now, with all this clutter in your mind, you almost don't hear when your Creator is actually speaking to you. So, if you want to know your true calling and your purpose, you need to clear that mind and listen to your spiritual healer and what
Beautiful.
that person is saying to you and the direction they want you to take. You need to pray. You need to read your Bibles. That part you must put it in as well. It's not going to be a magic. So that is why the notion out there it's like a magic. It's going through your brain and getting all your information. No, there's a spiritual side of it that you need to tap into, and that is very important.
Absolutely. So, one of the discussions we had was about the seven Hermetic principles. And Hermes is thought to have been one of the wisest, guys from all the way back in Egypt. And his work and his writings have stood the test of time to the point where there are laws that Hermes talks about. One of those is the law of vibration. First off, he talks about the idea that, yes, humans, we are body, mind, spirit. Yeah,
Body,
physical,
mind, spirit. Yeah.
mental, and spiritual. We exist on these three planes. And so that is why it is, yes, I believe in my healing work, absolutely important to connect to your spiritual as well.
Yes.
And for some of us, that might be Mother Nature, that might be the sun, that might be your
Yes.
highest and wisest self. That is your responsibility to identify and connect with your spirit as well. Because human beings do exist on that spiritual plane as well as the mental and the physical. We see
Physical.
how thoughts become things. This thing right here started off as a thought. on the mental plane before it became physical,
Yes.
you know? So your healing must leave your head and become manifested reality.
Yes.
And there are processes, there are bridges, there are ways, there are tools, and hypnotherapy is one of those. It is one
Yes.
of those. It's one of the most powerful I know.
Yes.
Yes. So, what I've done in addition to creating the course for healers, clinicians, licensed and non licensed, coaches, teachers, nurses, is to create a video series. It's like about 5 videos, a little course, a little video course that is accessible along with a relationship course that I offer, along with a group of other course creators. I do have that resource available. I invite you to go to my website, drtriffy.com, and investigate the trainings. And you spell Dr. Triffy, by the way, as Dr. Tri. I am my own sorority, Triphi, Dr.
Huge
Triffy.
eye.
Yeah, and go investigate, read, talk, ask questions, ask for help, but definitely do not continue, do not persist your suffering in silence. Do not persist in that because this is one of the quick ways. Suffering is just stress, inflammation, illness, mental, physical,
Yes.
spiritual
Yes.
overwhelm. It's not necessary. It's not necessary. So, Judy, what are your final thoughts about hypnotherapy, about the process, about the training, whatever comes to you? What do you want to leave the people who will be listening and who are listening and who will come upon this video later on? What do you want to say about hypnotherapy?
Hypnotherapy is a good tool to help you. We're not saying that it will help everybody, but we like to say that you need to be mentally ready and available for it to help you.
Yeah.
You need to
Need to show
want it,
up.
right? You need to show up. You need to want it to happen for you, for it to actually happen. Like we said, it's the mind. Now, we see a lot of persons just wandering all around, don't know what they're about, where's their next meal coming from, and so many challenges and so many issues that are out there. And I remember somebody saying to me before I did that course, you're listening to everybody and their stories. Are you keeping everybody's story in your head? What when you reach home to your husband, what you gonna do? Your head gonna be full. I want to let you know that we have ways as the healer to delete. We delete what is not necessary in our head. So we can listen. We can listen to all of you once you want to come. So we have ways and methods of deleting the unnecessary stuff. And we're not going to record and keep everything in there that you told us. We will keep what we need to, and you will know. And we move on to the next person who needs healing. I think it's a
Absolutely.
very good process. It's a very good process. I experienced it, like I said earlier, and it worked. It has been working for me. Because as healers, we continuously heal. Don't think that we are healed once and then we just stop. No, we continuously heal. Sometimes listening to your own challenges and what you have to say helps us heal while we go through the process with you. So it's a continuous healing process for both the healer and the client. And I want to encourage those of you who has the notion of going to a therapist is you crazy. You don't have to be crazy. You don't even have to get to the point where you feel so overwhelmed that you don't know what to do, you know? I will always tell you one of the first things to do is to go down on your knees and pray. Ask your creator for guidance as to how you should move forward with whatever is your challenge, what is troubling you. And if the creator and the universe is in sync and it directs you to hypnotherapy, you should take advantage of it. You won't regret it because it directed me to Dr. Triffy and talking to her and doing the course and being healed because I've been going through my different trauma, and I feel that there are a lot of other people who are going through it in silence, and I am willing to assist in whatever way I can possible or with your permission. And we will still follow the ethics. I am still doing the necessary courses, continuing my upgrade and my training with Dr. Triffy and doing all the necessary research while I am. It's like somebody practicing to be a medical doctor, and like I'm a raw student, and I got my white coat, and I am there, but I have to do clinicals. I must go out to the community and try to help and to heal some persons who are willing to allow me. So when the students used to go out there and look at those in charge, the doctors, doing the different processes, that's how they learn. So for me, as a trainee hypnotherapist, I am learning still, but I have to go out there and still help those who need the help. So if you need the help and you're willing to do the process with me, I will make myself available to you out there. And Dr. Triffy is my mentor. I always tap into her on a daily basis and find out everything that I need to know so I can do this process properly.
That's
And
beautiful. How can they reach you?
I created a Facebook page. It says J Law
Of rhythm. J Love Rhythm.
The Law of Rhythm. It's my Facebook page. It's a new page, and I want to say that I have over 100 people following the page already and liking it. And I just created it on a Sunday, and today's Thursday. So I know there are people waiting to follow that process and know how I have been healing and what worked for me. So as the day goes by, as the weeks goes by, I will be posting different updates. And if you want to reach me, you can DM me on my Facebook page. Send me a message inbox, and we can arrange, a one-on-one or via Zoom. Because right now with COVID, you cannot really, meet. So we can do Zoom classes, sessions, and we can see where it goes from there.
That's right. And they can DM you. What's your handle to DM you? Judy too?
They can
Where do
DM
you
me
want
at
them to
Judy
DM you?
too. They can DM me on anyone, Judy too or J Law Rhythm. Anyone.
Can you tell them why you chose the name J Law of Rhythm? I'm curious too.
Doc, what's the law of rhythm, Doc? Let's say this way. Tell me what the law of rhythm is, Doc. Let me hear
You
you.
know, so the law of rhythm, according to Hermes. So I talked earlier with you guys about the man himself. Well, I love Hermes, the Hermetic principles. One of the laws of Hermes is that everything in life has a rhythm. Everything flows in and out. Everything has its tides. All things rise and they fall, and the pendulum shifts and everything. So if you think about it, one way I think about this is with money. So many of us, we're human beings and we have real lives. So money, sometimes you have a lot of money, and then sometimes it's almost like the sea, the tide goes back out, and you're like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, will I ever be able to afford this or pay for this? Please just rest, because everything goes out and it comes back in.
Well,
So for people like us who are Caribbean people and Dominican people, who creating joy is built into the culture to the point where the word siwo, everybody knows. Siwo, by the way, is a Creole word for syrup, which is sweet. Siwo is a word we use for dancing and
yes.
parties, and it's just a part of creating joy, is a way we express ourselves so fully in our culture. So that rhythm, I really connected to that J Love rhythm name, and wanted to ask you. So say why. So why did you choose it?
So you see the explanation that you gave?
Mhm.
For me, it spoke to me when I read up on the law of rhythm because of my type of trauma, because of my type of what I've been through, what I'm experiencing, what I'm hearing from people out there, what they are experiencing, especially now during this COVID, worldwide. It resonated, and it's like, okay, this law where, you know, the tide goes, it comes, things go up, they come down, the pendulum swings, comes back. Hey, whatever you're going through now, it's the time, more will come, better will come, things rise, people rise, they fall, and they rise again, and they fall. And you swing this way, and you swing this way, you get back to your
Yes,
position. So that's
yes,
that's it for me in my life.
yeah,
It spoke to me. So it makes me happy to know that this law of rhythm exists, and that's me,
yeah.
Judy Lawrence. So it can happen for you as well, those who are
Mm-hmm.
listening.
As you
So
were
that's why. So that's
speaking,
why I actually choose this. It
that
really
name,
stuck. It stuck. Yes.
yeah. As you were speaking, I found myself thinking about the power of now
Yes.
and appreciating what is now,
No.
you know, as opposed to worrying about the future or lamenting the past, being
Yes.
present, being present with the experience for whatever lessons it's showing up to teach us. Ecclesiastes says there's a time for
Every
everything under
A
the
time
sun.
to be born, a time to die, a time to sow, a time to reap. There's a time for everything. So right now, I
Mhm.
think it's just my time to go through my healing process and to help others who need the help.
That's right. And on that note,
Yes.
I want to say thank you so much for being present with me
Thank you
tonight
for having
on
me.
Therapy Thursday.
Yes.
I really appreciated your presence and your participation in the class. I'm so excited. You all did so much fabulous work. It was a joy for me to witness. So, all of the people out there in Dominica, you've got yourself a hypnotherapist trainee. She's my clinical supervision. She is fabulous. I have watched her work and I have listened to
The
speak.
vibration.
That's right. See, out of the abundance of the heart. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. The mouth speaks. And
The
so
most.
you can recognize vibration. Yeah. So yeah, I am so happy that you're part of the group. And I want to just encourage you to keep
And delete.
and delete whatever no longer serves you. And you have a right. to choose. You have a right to release. You have a right to accept what feels good for you. You have a right to reject what doesn't.
Yes.
You are a creator. You get to do that. We all get to do that, so that we live conscious and present lives where we take
An
responsibility.
abundant life. Abundant
Yeah,
life. Yes.
take responsibility for the lives we want to experience on the planet. And it's
Totally.
yours just because you exist. You have that right just because you exist. And if you have that right, what's stopping you from using it?
Exercising it. Right.
Peace, people. Peace.
Thank
Happy
you for
Thursday.
having me and have a good evening, everybody. And anybody who needs to get in touch with me, you can find me on my Facebook page. Thank you. Good night,
No
dog.
problem. Good night. Bye, y'all.